Hello, I'm Alicia Ambrosio in for Stefan Slovak. Today was the third day of Pope Francis's visit to Latin America. He is in Quito, Ecuador. For the Holy Father, the day began with an early morning meeting with the Bishops of Ecuador. Now, the meeting was private, and we are told it was a rather informal meeting with no prepared speeches. The highlight for most Ecuadorians was the Papal Mass in Quito. Hundreds of thousands of people camped out in the city's bicentennial park last night to make sure they had a spot for the Mass today. According to Ecuador's Interior Ministry, 900,000 people attended the Mass in Quito, which was dedicated to the evangelization of peoples.
Como un grito en esta misa que celebramos en el Parque Bicentenario.
In his homily, Pope Francis drew applause when he linked Jesus' call for unity to what he called the cry for independence of the Latin American continent. He said that cry was born out of the awareness of not having true freedom, of being oppressed, robbed, and subject to the whims of powers that be. He said gathering together for Mass was also a cry, this time born of the conviction that the presence of Jesus will unite everyone who believes in him. He also spoke about the nature of evangelization and said, real evangelization is not proselytism. Instead, it means attracting people to the faith by our own lives. And we cannot force our faith on others because God respects even our freedom, even in our sin. God knocks on the door and waits. He says, I'm at the door. If you want, open it. And then he waits for us. The key to evangelization, according to Pope Francis, is building unity in our church and society. He said, we cannot pretend to be distracted and not notice the need for change, nor can we let ourselves be convinced that the challenges are insurmountable. Our faith calls us to give ourselves to others, and this is the true revolution. He closed his homily saying, our faith is always revolutionary. Pope Francis wore a chasuble created by artisans in Cuenca and featured symbols of Ecuador's first saint, Marianita of Jesus, as well as symbols of the Sacred Heart. After the Mass in Quito's Bicentennial Park, Pope Francis met with members of the world of education at the Pontifical Catholic University of Ecuador. There he drew on his recent encyclical Laudato Si and recalled the ways that God invites us into his work of creation, both by cultivating and helping creation grow and by taking care of it and protecting it. He said the human and natural environments are degrading together, and we must answer the call to protect our planet and those two environments by changing the culture of our society, away from a culture that sees any advancement and innovation as good and desirable. How good, he said, it would be if all of our centers and institutes for education could be semilleros, which is greenhouses or breeding grounds for this type of transformation of society. Now, yesterday, late in the day, Pope Francis met with Rafael Correa, the president of Ecuador. The Vatican did not release details of what was discussed. And after that meeting with President Correa, Pope Francis visited the Cathedral of Quito. There he had a private moment of prayer, and he met with a group of sick and disabled people. He led the group in praying the Hail Mary and gave them his blessing. He also expressed the hope that society will strive to make sure that all people are included in society, even the sick, the weak, and disabled. Well, that's it for Perspectives today. Join us again tomorrow for live coverage of Pope Francis's visit to Latin America as he moves on to Bolivia. From everyone here, thanks for watching. See you next time. Ecuador.